Yo, what's up, party people? Sammus here, obviously, and I'm here with a little weekly / monthly update. I don't know what to say or how to. I don't know what to call it. But basically, a friend of mine from way back recently reached out to me and she was like, yo, I was in your YouTube archives looking at all of your like weekly updates that you used to post up, and do you still post them up? If so, where can I catch them? And I was like, oh, I stopped doing them, or I haven't been doing them. And her message kind of encouraged me to get back into sharing, you know, what's going on with me in this way. It was kind of a neat little exercise that I did a few years ago where I would just kind of, you know, give an update on what was going on during the week, especially as I was leading up to my last 2 record releases. That was really fun, kind of giving the progress there, the updates. But yeah, I want to do it now as I'm working on my next record and attempting to finish my dissertation. So much time has passed between now and the last update that I'm not even going to attempt to fill in the blanks. So I'll jump back basically kind of to like the end of summer and kind of share some updates in that regard, and then I'll be back next week, God willing, with more updates. So basically at the end of the summer, I had just finished teaching. I taught 2 classes at NYU, and it was, you know, a really exhausting experience. I don't know that I would do it again. I was commuting between Philadelphia and New York City every week, stayed there Monday, Tuesday, then Wednesday, taught, and then drove back to Philly. And then in the interim was doing a few shows, and you know, that was a lot. And I realized like halfway into it, like, yo, I don't have the bandwidth to do this and grade and work on my album and work on my dissertation. So I just kind of focused on teaching. So at the end of the summer, it was like, okay, now I have this next couple of months ahead of me. Let me prioritize some things. And so in end of August, like beginning of September, I had a couple of shows. I ended up flying to Seattle for PAX West, which was really cool. I was hit up at the last second to go there, and unfortunately I wasn't there with my amazing live band bassist and drummer, but you know, I made it work and it was super duper fun. It was my first PAX West as like a featured artist, so that was a big deal. And then throughout September I had a couple other gigs. I had a residency at Mercury Lounge in New York City, and that was really nerve-wracking because I am moving into this, if anyone's heard my song Headliner, you know that I have this like deep desire to be recognized among my peers as a headliner, but it's also really nerve-wracking to be the person responsible for bringing folks in the door. And so that, yeah, my heart is still not beating correctly from that experience. But people came, you know, people came out to the different nights, all of the different artists. You can find them on my Instagram page, Sammus Music, Instagram.com/Sammus Music or whatever. And they were all so good. Every night was completely different. And during that time, I had the opportunity to share new music, which was so fucking nerve-wracking. But people loved it. And actually, I think they liked the new music more than the old music, except for like, you know, 1080p or Love Song, like my hits. I don't know if I could call them hits, but whatever, I just called them hits, my hits. So yeah, so I had those shows, and I'm forgetting if I had anything else, any other shows. I had a show at Keystone Comic-Con in Philadelphia, which was kind of a weird, neat experience. It was the first year of Keystone Comic-Con, so that was pretty neat. And then I've had some like interesting kind of panel discussion things that have also popped up. So I ended up going to the Library of Congress towards the end of September to be part of this dialogue, this symposium put together by a friend of mine, Lucienne Walkowitz, who's just like brilliant and amazing. So she brought all these folks together to talk about becoming interplanetary, what it means to think about, you know, traveling to Mars, living on Mars, and what living on Mars can tell us about living on Earth, and vice versa. And it was like this really interesting tracks that were set up to talk about different aspects of that. So the first track, I think, was called The Right Stuff, and was a play on this idea that astronauts have a particular, you know, build or look to them, and it's one that basic research into space travel has shown is not actually the optimal body type or way of being that's most fit for being in space. And then we also talked about all of the assumptions that go into like thinking about who would be useful for like a space team, and the idea of use and value and how that's tied to capitalism, all of this cool stuff. And I'll post up, you can find it on my social media basically, because there was another track and I'm forgetting what the kind of overarching theme was for that. And then my track was about kind of Afrofuturism, alternative futurisms. And so I ended up doing a performance and then also sat on the panel with these brilliant other scholars. You know, we had a conversation about what like visionary fiction or kind of these constructed narratives around space travel or blackness or identity, and all of those ideas, what they can bring to the table as far as conversations about what it might be like to go to travel to another planet, or you know, why that impulse even is one. So it was really, really fun and incredible. And then the second panel that I was a part of was this panel discussion put together by kind of a crowdfunding company called With Friends, and I've been dialoguing with them for some time now. They're based out of New York City and Mexico City, I believe, and they are kind of a neat alternative to other crowdfunding platforms in the sense that they're focused on like specifically building up like community art spaces or art movements that have had a difficult time being consistently funded. So there are a lot of like nonprofits or spaces in New York City, for example, that have come and gone, and it's like really really disheartening, because those spaces are the lifeblood for like DIY communities and so many different kinds of artists and weird art that's not gonna be sort of funded in more traditional platforms. And so we had a dialogue about what it means to be an artist in these times and how we make our money. It was me and then two other guests, and you can also look on my Instagram. There's pictures of the panel up there too, and you can get all the info on who was there. And so yeah, that was really cool too. So that's kind of everything that I've been up to show-wise. As far as new music and my next album, as I mentioned, I shared some tracks during the residency that I was in. And my goal this next couple of weeks was to finish writing everything for the album. I think it's gonna be 10 songs. The project's gonna be 10 songs. And I feel really good about, like, I'd say half of them. I feel pretty good about the other half, and I was really making a lot of progress. And you know, then I had started to be in communication with my dissertation committee, and so my priorities shifted from, you know, really being full steam ahead with this next album and, you know, kind of working on my dissertation when I can, to the reverse, like focusing on the dissertation and working on the album when I can. So that's been tough because, of course, working on an album is much more fun than working on a dissertation. But it's, you know, it's the reality of what my situation kind of brings. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I hired a dissertation writing coach, and she has kind of snapped my ass into gear. We talk every Friday about just like, you know, what my week has been like, and she's giving me all of these cool strategies, and she sends me sweet texts. It's like really nice. It's like a friend that I've paid for. Isn't that great? What is my life? That's kind of where things are at. I'm hoping that if I meet my October goal, as far as finishing this chapter that I'm working on, then I think I'll be able in November to finally go in and record the songs that I feel completely 100% are done, and hopefully by the end of this year have the album done and have 3 chapters that I feel fucking great about for this dissertation. And then the hope is that in January I will work on intro and conclusion. Well, maybe 4 chapters, I don't know. I don't fucking know. The dissertation is difficult because it serves different purposes. If you're someone who wants to keep going in academia, there are different sort of standards that you should be meeting. But if you're just trying to get the thing done, you know, I don't need this to be my magnum opus. I truly just want to graduate. So that's sort of what I have been up to. I know that I'm leaving some things out, but whatever, fuck it. Oh, last thing, I also was part of this really cool music video that I was featured in my homie Noga, who's an incredible producer and kind of pop, like anti-pop artist. We did a song together called Cash Out. I was a featured artist. I went, oh yeah, I forgot to include this. At the end of the summer, I went to Berlin. He flew me to Berlin to shoot this music video. It was so cool. I was there for like 4 days. Got to hang out, eat really, really good food. It was fucking hot though, and the Germans don't believe in AC, I guess. Even the windows aren't set up to hold like AC units. So that was a bummer because it was a fucking heat wave, but global warming, man. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Also, a last thing, I guess, is trying to kind of, you know, be consistent with Patreon with my fiance Lanre. Oh shit, I forgot. We're also wedding planning. This is so bad. There's so much shit. Now you see why I haven't been doing the videos. So wedding planning is a thing that has kind of happened, but not really happened. And I just remembered we also went to XOXO, which is a like festival situation for people who do cool shit on the internet. We did that in early September, and that was really, really fun. Lizzo performed there, and she remembered me from when we were in Houston. If you go way, 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 way back in my video archives, you'll actually see her at a show that I did in Houston, singing the chorus to like a song that's off my first EP that is, yeah, dead in the water. So do not listen to it, it's terrible. But she kills it, and we were at this like, you know, community church function or something. It's great. I will try to post a link to it if I remember. Yeah, she was there. Mike Eagle was there, gave a great talk. Jean Grey was there, she gave a great talk. And speaking of Jean Grey, that reminds me, last weekend I was at New York Comic Con. Wow, it's just so much shit that was put together by Travis McElroy, and he brought together a whole bunch of his friends. Paul and Storm, the Double Clicks were there. I was a friend. Jean Grey was there. And it was kind of like a variety show. Like everybody did 10 minutes. It was so much fun. So that also happened. But anyways, at XOXO, Lanre and we ended up crashing a wedding. There's a lot that happened, but we ended up crashing a wedding. We got really inspired by the wedding that we crashed. And so we've been doing a little bit of wedding planning, and hopefully we'll have things figured out. He's working on a book, and it's a lot. There's a lot of writing and sadness in this house right now. Yeah, that's what's been going on. I have a show coming up this weekend with Mira, who's amazing. October 13th in Philly, 12th? I don't know, whatever day Saturday is. And it's at Johnny Brenda's, and that's kind of it. Then I have like a benefit show at the end of the month, but really, you can find me in my pajamas working on this fucking stupid dissertation. I just want to be done. I just want to be done. So yeah, I'll be back with more updates next week, and hopefully I'll be telling you about how much writing got done. So thanks to my homie Hannah for reminding me about these little weekly updates, and I hope this was interesting, and if it wasn't, I'm so sorry. Yeah, subscribe, or not just subscribe. If you want to contribute to helping me and my fiance stay afloat, we've got our Patreon page, patreon.com/zerosuits, and we got our podcast, and you know, post up a little bit about stuff that we're interested in, so I'll provide a link for that too. Okay, so that was it, and I'm leaving now.